Hello. In this video, we want to solve a question from the topics macroeconomics, especially from the IS curve analysis. What is the shape of the IS curve if investment does not depend on interest rate? Now, what is IS curve? First, we explain what is IS curve. I stands for investment, A stands for savings. IS curve shows the combinations of real rate of interest, denoted by R, and income denoted by Y that are consistent with the equilibrium in the market for goods and services. That is, IS curve shows the equation for IS curve shows the goods market equilibrium. Now the equation for IS curve, what is I? I is investment, AC savings. IS curve shows the goods market equilibrium condition. The goods market equilibrium condition is denoted by the following things. The goods market equilibrium condition is Y equals to C plus I plus G. This is in the closed economy. Goods market equilibrium condition in the closed economy. I am considering closed economy. In the closed economy, Y equals to C plus I plus Z. Closed economy means we are not considering export-import. What is Y? Y is income or GDP, real GDP. Income. C is consumption. Expenditure. C is consumption expenditure. The function is C equals to Y minus T. C depends on Y minus T. What is T? T is tax. Y minus T is disposable income. Now 0 less than C prime less than 1. The first order derivative of consumption with respect to disposable income lies between 0 and 1. C prime is called marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume. This is basically MPC. MPC. M stands for marginal, P stands for propensity, C stands for consume. Marginal propensity to consume. This is the consumption function. Now I equals to I of R. What is R? R is the real rate of interest. This is I equals to private investment expenditure. I prime is negative. That is, in private investment is inversely related to rate of interest. Private investment is inversely related to real rate of interest. Real rate of interest. Now what is G? G is government spending. G is government spending. Which is assumed to be autonomous. G is government spending. Which is assumed to be autonomous, that is G equals to G bar, and T is also autonomous. T equals to T bar. Bar shows the autonomous. Autonomous, this is also autonomous. Hence the equation for ice curve becomes y equals to c plus I plus g. In place of c I am writing c function of y minus t. In place of I am writing I of r, g bar, t bar, y. This is the equation of the ice curve. This is the equation of the ice curve. Now to get the slope, we take the total differentiation of the above equation. Taking total differentiation, we get dy equals to c prime dy minus dt bar plus I prime dr plus dg bar. Y becomes dy, we are taking total differentiation. C of y minus t becomes c prime. Y becomes dy, then t bar becomes dt bar. I of r becomes I prime dr and g bar becomes dg bar. Now G equals to G bar, T equals to T bar, these are autonomous. Therefore, along the ice curve, T and G are constant. Therefore, dt bar equals to 0 equals to dg bar. Constant, differentiation of the constant term is always 0. Therefore, dt bar and dg bar becomes 0. Now, dy equals to c prime dy plus I prime dr, or I am taking c prime dy on the left hand side, that is dy minus c prime dy equals to I prime dr, or 1 minus c prime into dy, taking dy common, 1 minus c prime equals to I prime dr. Now dr dy equals to 1 minus c prime by I prime. Now dr dy is considered as the slope of the ice curve. This is the slope of the ice curve. Now 0 less than c prime less than 1. This is the Keynes conjecture that MPC MPC lies between 0 and 1. Therefore, 1 minus c prime is also a positive fraction. 1 minus c prime is also a positive fraction. Now 1 minus c prime is basically marginal propensity to save. Marginal propensity to save, MPS. 1 minus c prime lies between 0 and 1. Therefore, the numerator is a positive fraction. I prime is negative. Therefore, 1 minus c prime by I prime. The numerator is positive, denominator is negative. This becomes negative. Therefore, dr dy equals to 1 minus c prime by I prime is negative. That means i's curve is usually downward sloping. In general, i's curve is downward sloping. In general, i's curve is downward sloping. But in this question, it is asked that the investment is perfectly insensitive to rate of interest. Investment, according to the question, investment is perfectly insensitive to rate of interest. Now, what is investment is perfectly insensitive to rate of interest means? It means that I prime r is 0. That is, when interest rate changes, investment does not change. It means that when interest rate changes, that is r changes, private investment does not change. That is, private investment remains unchanged. I prime equals to 0. The interest sensitivity of investment is 0. The investment is completely interest inelastic. I prime 0 means what? Investment is perfectly interest inelastic. Now, what is the slope of the i's curve? dr dy equals to 1 minus c prime by I prime. When I prime is 0, when I prime equals to 0, dr dy equals to 1 minus c prime by 0. This is undefined or tends to infinity. Something divided by 0 means it is undefined or tends to infinity. Therefore, the slope tends to infinity. The slope of the i's curve tends to infinity. It means that the i's curve is vertical. We know the slope is denoted by the tan theta, and when theta equals to 90 degree, then tan theta tends to infinity. Slope is denoted by tan theta, and when theta tends to 90 degree, then value of tan theta tends to infinity. That means the curve becomes vertical. Hence, the i's curve becomes vertical. That means when investment is perfectly inelastic, the i's curve becomes vertical. On the vertical axis, we are measuring real rate of interest. Horizontal axis, we are measuring income, and the i's curve becomes vertical. When investment is perfectly inelastic, then the i's curve is vertical. I's curve becomes vertical when private investment becomes perfectly interest inelastic. And the curve is shown by this diagram. On the vertical axis, we are measuring real rate of interest. On the horizontal axis, we are measuring income, and the IS curve is vertical. IS curve is vertical because I prime is 0 and the denominator becomes 0. Numerator is 1 minus C prime, which is a positive fraction. If something is divided by, if a positive fraction or any number is divided by 0, that becomes infinity. That means the slope of the IS curve becomes infinity. Slope means that tan theta, when theta is equals to 90 degree, then the value of tan theta is infinity. Therefore, the IS curve becomes vertical. That's it for this video. I hope everybody understood the solution of this question. Thank you. That's it.